Hi, today I will go through the essential pieces of gear that I think every filmmaker needs to shoot cinematic videos. If you're just starting out or if you've been shooting for a while, those pieces of gear are the basics that belong in your kit or that you will need along the way if you want to get serious about filmmaking.
I just need my mobile phone to do 4K video.
You can of course just take a mobile phone and do some 4K video with it, but if your goal is to capture your audience and to give them that sense of quality and realism, then you will need some proper gear.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What?
The sponsor.
Right. Before we get started, this episode of Cinema 5D Essential is sponsored by Tilta. Thank you Tilta for making this video possible. Cinema 5D has been around for about 9 years.
Oh, really?
Yes. Since the dawn of digital cinematography, we've worked with virtually every camera on the market, cheap or expensive.
Also the Sony A7S?
Also the A7S.
iPhone 7?
No. If you think that it doesn't matter which camera you use, you're probably not aware of the vast differences between them. Sure, if you're good, you can fake a cinematic look on a phone, but only with a few tricks, and of course you have limited options there. Any good cinematographer will think very carefully about which camera he shoots with.
Varicam.
And people have waited a long time until affordable large sensor cameras came around. The first ones were DSLRs, and they changed the industry. And no, a mobile phone is simply not a camera.
But this new telephone by Red shoots virtual reality.
Not even if it shoots 8K or 3D or virtual reality. A mobile phone is not a cinema camera. You want a camera with a large sensor, a camera that works well in video and doesn't distract you. If you're on a budget and you're shooting HD, then any Canon DSLR can still do the job of creating nice images.
This one.
If you want really nice images and still save money, you will go for one of the newer mirrorless cameras. And if you have more money, you might invest in one of the newer large sensor cameras. Right now there are plenty to choose from. But if someone tells you that it doesn't matter which camera you use, that's simply not true. Your camera doesn't have to be expensive, but it should be capable. So number one, obviously you need a camera. There are affordable small cameras like the Sony a6500. They are more complicated to work with and require some additional accessories. There are mid-range small cameras like the Sony a7S II or Panasonic GH5. They have better quality and are a bit better to work with, but still require some accessories. And then there are more expensive, larger cameras like the Sony FS5, FS7 or Canon C200. They are bigger and thus not as easy to handle, but they are laid out for video shooting and easier to work with, and they require less additional accessories. So which camera category you work with and which of the good cameras available you work with depends on the kinds of jobs that you do. And this decision is up to you.
So which one should I get?
If you need more help on that topic, check out our gear guide on Cinema 5D. The link is in the description below. Second, of course, you need a lens.
This one does 15 to 300 millimeters.
You don't want to get a cheap zoom lens like that. Even though the wide range coverage is convenient and tempting, cheap zoom lenses have bad quality and they produce a very dark image. So you will end up having a grainy, ugly image or be required to invest in more light, and you won't get the cinematic shots you want. So first you want to get a prime lens, a lens with just one focal length. Most common is the 50mm lens for full frame cameras and 35mm for Super 35 or APS-C cameras. Make sure this prime lens has an f-stop of around 1.4 so you can get that nice shallow depth of field look that cinema is known for.
Why is that?
Because your eyes see the world like that too. You don't need a full set of different prime lenses at the beginning. There are cinematographers that have shot entire movies on a single focal length and just changed the framing by moving the camera. Instead of more prime lenses, if you can afford it, get a wide-angle zoom to capture those wide-angle shots you often need in order to establish a scene or frame larger objects or landscapes. For reports, documentary-style projects, you might need a zoom lens. But if you do, you should get a good zoom lens that has good quality and a good range.
So which lenses should I get exactly?
If you need more help on that topic, check out our gear guide on Cinema 5D, because this information would simply exceed the scope of this video. The link is in the description below. 3. You need some sort of tripod. There are all kinds of interesting solutions out there that help you lock down your camera. And some of them, like the monopod for example, are useful for special purposes, but the good old tripod is the most versatile one. The important thing is to have the chance to lock down your camera for static shots. I would not be able to shoot this video without a tripod, mainly because I don't have a camera operator. Maybe you say, yeah, but I only shoot handheld. Right, some people only shoot handheld, and you might be one of them. But keep in mind, there are many situations where handheld is simply not a good idea. For example, when you do interviews, when you shoot static shots like me now, when you use a long lens, or you do close-ups of any kind, or if you simply want to rest or prepare your camera. A tripod is where it all starts, and this is why it was one of the first pieces of gear that I ever bought. I've had my Sachtler FSB6 for over 10 years now. 4. If you go handheld, you need a stabilizer.
I can do it like that.
You cannot just hold the camera in your hand like that. At least if you want your images to have a professional and/or cinematic feel to them. If you use your camera without any stabilization, you will get micro shakes in your image.
Oh, that looks horrible.
And you will not be able to control it very well. So for handheld small cameras, make sure you get a rig that locks down your X and Y axis for a more natural handheld look. But don't just buy any rig, because there have been all kinds of crimes committed when it comes to building rigs the wrong way, by manufacturers and by users. My tip, just try to stay simple and balanced. Sometimes you can get away with zoom lenses that have an image stabilizer built in, and this is also what I do on less critical jobs. There are other stabilizing solutions to get smooth movements in your shots, which can enhance your story. The old school method is to use a Steadicam, and the more expensive and easier, but I'm still not sure if more convenient method, is to use a gimbal stabilizer like the Tilta Gravity G1 gimbal, for example. People use gimbal stabilizers a lot, and the Tilta is certainly a good option if you're looking for one of the latest models. 5. Sound. You need good sound, because in your film, sound is more important than your picture.
What?
What do you mean what?
How is sound more important in video than video?
Can you still understand me now? Can you still follow the story?
Yes.
And now, did you get that? Watch any movie without sound. Usually it's totally meaningless, but a movie without the picture still makes sense in your head. So if your sound is bad, your video will most probably not appear professional. It usually annoys people to watch something with bad audio. If you have a small camera, you will probably need either an external recorder and sync the picture and sound during editing, or you will need some kind of audio module to get professional microphone audio into your camera and avoid having to sync audio in post-production. Sony and Panasonic mirrorless cameras offer options like that. Larger cameras have XLR inputs and professional sound preamps built in, which you need to connect your microphones properly. As a microphone, you always want a shotgun microphone to get ambient and effect sound in your scene. My camera has a microphone built in. If you don't use anything else and you're on a budget, it's better not to rely on built-in microphones, and at least use a small shotgun mic with a mini jack to get better ambient sound. You can use these shotgun microphones to record sound effects in your scene separately. Whenever someone speaks in your shots, one proven solution are lavalier mics. Wired lavs are cheaper and wireless solutions are much more expensive, but very, very convenient to use. There are other methods, but we will not get into those now. 6. You need an ND filter. No mobile phones. If you don't use an ND filter, your shots will often have the wrong shutter speed. The wrong shutter speed looks unnatural and your videos will not feel cinematic. You must always make sure to be in a shutter of 180 degrees, which we will probably cover in another Essentials episode. You can also use vari-ND filters. These are very handy. These are very useful to control your light. They come in 2 standard diameters and you should get the right one for your lens. If you're shooting outdoors, an ND filter like that is absolutely essential. If you have a large camera, there's a chance it has ND filters built in, so you don't need an external one. And number 7, in many cases you will need lights. Without the lights, my setup looks like this. It doesn't look natural, it doesn't look nice, it's not cinematic. It doesn't give your eyes what they expect to see. So you need to make sure you have nice lighting. And very often this is only possible by placing at least one additional light somewhere. You can do a lot with lighting, it's an art form of its own, and we won't go into that now. But the key ingredient when you record people, the basic, is to use a soft light source. You can often achieve that by placing your subject next to an open window.
No, it doesn't work.
Sometimes you don't get light from a window, obviously. So this is one situation where you want to use an artificial soft light. Today we have the luxury of LED lights. They are affordable and by now they deliver a great quality. But look out, because there's also a lot of stuff available that you don't want to get. Avoid LED lights that don't have an even surface. You don't want those small light points to ruin your shots. Avoid LEDs with barn doors, because that is unprofessional. Avoid LED lights with a CRI of less than 85, because those will not give you a natural look. And if you buy lights cheap, keep in mind they might not have a very long lifetime. If you can afford it, I would recommend a light with a single source and a softbox. Those will often give you the most beautiful, natural looking results. I'm using the Also 3200 here, which is about $750, and there are some more like it. If you need more help on that topic, check out our gear guide on Cinema 5D, because listing all those lights would simply exceed the scope of this video. The link is in the description below. Don't forget, you will also need some media to record your footage. I'm using an external recorder. I recommend you get media to record your footage, some extra batteries, because there's nothing worse than running out of batteries in the middle of a job, and some bags to transport your gear. If this sounds like too much for you, or if your budget doesn't allow it, then plan your shoots. Think about exactly what you will need to achieve your shot, and don't just buy everything at once. If you are at the very beginning, start with the camera, the lens, the ND filter, and as you progress, get the other items as needed. Also start small and lightweight, because larger and more heavy gear requires more people to help you carry and execute productions. Filmmaking can be pulled off by a single person who knows what they are doing. Like, I created this video while my colleagues were on holidays, and when you get better, you will find your niche and your style and the additional equipment you require to make it perfect. Remember that this gear enables you to shoot, but the quality of your products comes down to how you use it. So try to understand how to use each piece of gear properly, and then experiment and try to work a lot with it. Don't just get discouraged when your results are not perfect the first time, or the second time, or even the third time. Keep making mistakes, because you need to make mistakes in order to learn, and everyone started there. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please press the little thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe to our channel for more videos from us. Also, if you're looking for a gimbal stabilizer, make sure to check out the Gravity G1 by the sponsor of this video, Tilta. We have reviewed some of their products in the past and we feel like their quality is very good for the price. Their new gimbal stabilizer is ideal for stabilizing small cameras. Check out all their gear at tilta.com, and thank you for watching.